Hey guys, welcome back to Roku City, where the streets are paved with blood and all crime is legal. You know when you're trying to navigate your rapidly deteriorating smart TV and some sponsored bullshit comes up telling you to watch like Darman Christmas, and you're like, who would even click on this? I would click on this. It's been a long year, and frankly, I'm tired of thinking. It hurts my head, and I don't want to do it anymore. So I'm going on autopilot. Whatever my stupid TV tells me to watch, I'm going to. No searching, no scrolling, whatever pops up, I'm hitting play.
Hey, why didn't your brother get any?
First of all, he's not my brother.
Oh no, he's drunk.
Now I have to admit, the main reason I'm making this video is out of spite. I had this fun little idea for a December video where I was gonna search Christmas on every streaming service and keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling till I got all the way to the bottom where, in my head, I would find some random ass terrible movie that we could all make fun of and have ourselves a merry little Christmas. Well, I was wrong, because that's not how any of these fucking apps work anymore. If you search something on a streaming service, you're lucky if you get more than one page of results. So how am I supposed to find the crap? I know there's crap in here. Show it to me. There's like 14,000 titles on Prime Video, and you're telling me only 16 of them are Christmas movies? I don't believe you. Hulu has a few dozen, but most of these are only available if you have Hulu with Paramount Plus with Showtime, which in spite of its impeccable branding, I don't. On Netflix, it seems like there's more results until you realize about half of these are just hour-long videos of a fire. Wednesday fireplace? What about the rest of the week? I can see that there's way more stuff in here, but none of it comes up when I search. Why can't I look for it myself? Why do I have to click on a movie first if I want to see more that are similar? I thought maybe my phone would work better, but on there, Netflix doesn't even try. Christmas movie. What's a Christmas movie? Oh, White Chicks? Groundhog Day? Benjamin Button? What about White Chicks? Groundhog Day? Benjamin Button? Are you sure you don't want to watch Benjamin Button? I don't want your curated list. I want a search feature that's so all-encompassing and unalgorithmic that it's showing me every episode of House Hunters that took place in a city with the word Santa in it. But even this is only going to exist until HBO gets absorbed by one of the other two companies. If you want to watch Christmas movies on Prime Video, you have to go to their holiday collection, where you'll be shown a bunch of categories that frankly don't mean anything. What's the difference between holiday cheer and festive inspiration? Those are two different things? What does home for the holidays mean? Are these romantic Christmas movies? I thought that's what this one was. Are they movies about spending time with your family? They already have a category for that. But here's my favorite thing. There's actually a movie in here called Home for the Holidays. But it's not in Home for the Holidays. It's in Festive Inspiration. Home for the Holidays is for Sister Swap 1 and 2. Who made this? And don't get me started on It's Giving Holiday Escape. This category is just any movie. Need an escape from Christmas movies? No! Otherwise, I wouldn't have clicked on the Christmas movie button. So anyway, that's why I decided to just give up and watch whatever they want me to. You know why? Because it doesn't matter. They're just gonna funnel you towards the same 3 things anyway, so why even bother? You're not supposed to think when you look at your phone. You're not supposed to use your brain when you turn on the TV. Your job is to sit there and stare at whatever we put in front of you. So fine, Netflix, you win. What do you want me to watch? Aw, man. All right, I'll talk about Stranger Things. I know I'm uploading this video before the final episode comes out, but I have a lot of opinion about the first 98% of this show, so I'm gonna talk about it anyway. Like most people, I loved season 1 of Stranger Things. The story was fun and original, it was beautifully directed, the music was fantastic. They did such a good job nailing the atmosphere that it made a lot of people, myself included, nostalgic for a time period they weren't even alive for. And if the show ended after one nearly perfect season like they originally planned to, I think it would have gone down as one of the greatest short-lived achievements in television history, right up there with shows like Chernobyl or Fleabag. But I don't blame Netflix for wanting to keep the gravy train rolling, nor do I think everything that came after it was a total waste of time. I thought season 2 was pretty good, season 3 a little bit more so.
How many children are you friends with?
And season 4 was legitimately great. I don't think it needed to be 75 hours long, but its peaks were deliver some of the best of the entire show. But I think you can only ask for so much patience out of your audience. It's been almost 10 years since the first season came out. At this point, I'm not that excited to watch a bunch of 27-year-olds pretending to be teenagers stick their arms out and yell until their nose bleeds. The returns are starting to diminish. I've thought about this a lot, and I think I've come up with the perfect comparison. Stranger Things 5 is the same as Kingdom Hearts 3. Hear me out. The first Kingdom Hearts game is about a young boy who gets separated from his friends and family and has to fight through darkness on his journey to reconnect with them. It's simple yet effective. It's a little goofy, but it's also Donald Duck. By the time Kingdom Hearts 3 came out, 17 years later, I found myself skipping every cutscene because I didn't know what the fuck everyone was talking about anyway.
It's not the sum of our parts. It's the sum of our hearts. Yeah!
Similarly, Stranger Things 1 was a story about a young boy who was taken from his friends and family and their fight through darkness on a journey to reconnect with him. It's simple yet effective. It's a little goofy, but it's also Millie Bobby Brown. In Stranger Things 5, we learn that actually the Upside Down isn't the evil place, it's a wormhole, a bridge between the real world and the truly evil place. And the bridge has been deteriorating because Will had too many dreams about it. So now the gang, which is like 30 people at this point, has to breach the abyss so they can defeat Vecna by attacking his core in Dimension X. And Vecna's been posing as Mr. What's-It to lure a bunch of kids into his mind palace.
What's it?
His real name is Henry.
AKA Vecna.
AKA 1. That's too many names.
Also, Eleven's sister is back. Definitely not because we wanted to justify that random throwaway episode we did in season 2, but because it's important to the story. What this show needs is more characters. There aren't enough characters. I think what's taken me out of the show the most at this point is the apparent lack of stakes. They always seem to be in danger. They're always saying stuff like this.
You will die! We will die! Holly will die! Everyone will die!
But then nobody ever does. Life or death situations are just temporary inconveniences. The Demogorgons ruthlessly rip through every background extra without breaking a sweat, and yet when they face any of the main characters, they're suddenly frozen in place. Like they all emanate some invisible force field that makes them invincible. Even when they inevitably kill off 1 or 2 people in the final episode tonight, it won't change the fact that they've missed every opportunity to do this throughout the show. Not only would this have made the danger actually feel real, but I think it would have better served a lot of these characters. Imagine if Steve died as a hero last season instead of the random new guy they introduced just so they had someone to kill off in his place. Imagine if Hopper actually sacrificed himself 2 seasons ago. Then he could have had a meaningful, emotional send-off instead of just getting dragged through to the finish line, even though he's not adding anything to the show at this point. What we're left with now is a show with a hugely bloated cast that spends half of their screen time just explaining things to each other. Way too much of this season is characters in a room answering questions or coming up with a plan, and they all finish each other's sentences. Yeah, I got it.
It'll probably take days.
His powers are
Nate, try and keep the telemetry signal within
-60 and -70 dB.
Get them to Murray. Smuggle them out of Hawkins.
All before anyone notices they're gone.
Dick.
What?
Robin somehow has to serve as both a ditzy comic relief, but also the main deliverer of exposition, which feels kind of contradictory, but I guess they have to put this much on her plate because she's one of only a few of the young people on the cast who grew into being a good actor. Maybe it's unfair to criticize any of the individual actors when there's so many nothing performances. So is it the acting, the directing, the writing, or some combination of all 3? The writing is so bad this time around, it's making me question my memory of the other 4 seasons. Were there always this many Disney Channel ass lines? Or like AAA video game writing tropes?
Dick.
What?
Sorry, did I say that out loud? I thought I was talking in my head.
That was supposed to be an inside thought.
We're going in there. We're going in there.
We're going to the scary monster place? We're going to the scary monster place.
Is that supposed to be English, freak?
And why in this universe, where evil and crazy shit has been happening for like 5 years now, do people still not believe anyone when they say that something evil and crazy is happening?
Monsters aren't real, Holly.
Monsters are real, but not the one you're talking about.
Monsters and alternate dimensions.
Who is stupid
enough to believe that. You are going through withdrawal.
Robin, that doesn't make any sense. You must be high on drugs. Brother, what city have you been living in? Because it sure doesn't sound like Hawkins, Indiana. Of course, this season is not all bad. In fact, some of it's still really solid. At least half of the cast is still giving really great performances. I actually teared up when Dustin pleaded for Steve not to put himself in danger because he didn't want to lose another one of his friends. And Vecna, both in human and Demogorgon form, is a very intimidating villain. Except when you can see his legs. His legs look dumb as hell. But you know, maybe in that way he's the perfect representation of what Stranger Things has become. The top half is the aesthetic that you see on the surface, a show that maintains the appearance of something competent, but is perched on top of an ever-wavering foundation. Those damn legs. They're too fragile, and we just called it quits in season 4. They would have held on until their final moments, but we got greedy. Now they're trembling under the weight of a world we made too big for its own good. Or maybe they'll stick the landing tonight and I'll be wrong. I hope so. I don't want this show to fail. I don't want it to become the next Game of Thrones. It deserves a good ending. My official prediction for the finale? Thanks for asking. I think everybody dies except for Derek and one Demodog, and together they have to repopulate the Earth.
All right, what do I have to watch today? What the hell is this?
Today's video is sponsored by SoFi, the mobile-first finance company helping its members save, spend, borrow, and invest. The worst thing you can do with your money is cut it up into little pieces and feed it to your dog. But the second worst thing you can do is leave it all in a checking account that's barely earning you a cent. But that's exactly what most banks will do. With SoFi, you can flip that. When you open a SoFi checking and savings account and set up eligible direct deposit, you earn a competitive APY, and there's no account fees. That means your money isn't just sitting there, it's working for you by earning interest on every dollar you make. Are you listening?
Yeah.
Good. For a limited time, when you open a new high-yield savings account, you can earn up to a $300 cash bonus and a 0.7% boost to your savings APY with eligible direct deposit. Terms apply. So start putting your money to work. Head to SoFi.com/Drew, click the link in the description, or scan the QR code on the screen to get started. Thank you to SoFi for sponsoring this video. Let's cleanse our palate with some good old-fashioned Christmas slop. Hot Chocolate Holiday is a story that could only exist in Christmastown, which is what I like to call the unspecified fictional city where these kinds of movies take place. You know, where it doesn't quite look like real life. It's almost like they're filming inside a snow globe. That's where this movie's set. It's your classic Romeo and Juliet story about two people falling in love in spite of the fact that they own rival hot chocolate cafes. That's right, this town has not one, but two cafes that specialize in hot chocolate, and they are right next to each other.
So you're telling me that more people buy your hot chocolate than your coffee?
I love this stuff.
Colette's Cafe is named Colette's Cafe because it's a cafe and her name is Colette. Marcus's Cafe sells sweet pastries and it's called Sweet Pastries. Now the entire plot of this movie is that Colette thinks Marcus stole her hot chocolate recipe and she's freaking out about it. She's making her employees do undercover recon. She's obsessively running taste tests. Wait, why didn't she just drink it? She didn't need to stick her finger in there.
I love this stuff.
This whole thing is crazy to me because, like, I haven't had a ton of hot chocolate in my life, but aren't they all exactly the same? How many different ways are there to make hot chocolate? Surely not enough that you could accuse someone of stealing yours. It's chocolate and it's hot. Both the recipe and the temperature at which it's served are in the name. But they fight about this the whole movie.
That's ridiculous.
This whole thing is ridiculous.
It's a pretty insane choice for a movie plot, but I'm mostly just upset because this was setting up for a perfect twist ending that they completely ignored. See, Colette's recipe has been passed down from her grandmother, and that's why she's so particular about it. He insists he didn't steal it from her, that it's his own proprietary recipe. So anyway, they bicker back and forth for a while, things escalate romantically, they hook up. Now they're laying in bed together, out of breath, smiling. They just had sex. And that's when he's like,
all right, I'll tell you, the reason I'm so certain that I didn't steal your recipe is that mine is actually pretty old. See, I got it from my grandmother.
mine is from my grandmother.
What?
We're cousins?
But we just raw dog.
But no, there's no incest. Just boring old regular love. Actually, nothing else really happens in this movie until his cafe catches on fire, and it definitely wasn't her. She wasn't being vengeful and crazy because he stole her recipe. That would make the movie interesting. They actually never figure out what caused it. They kind of just keep beating around the bush.
Do they have any idea what caused this?
They think it came from the kitchen.
Any ideas on the cause?
Might have been an oven.
They think it just started itself.
The more time we're closed, the less money we make.
That's so true. Everybody in this movie is really smart. This guy's a construction worker, which you can tell because of his hat. And he's like, yeah, I don't know, man. You should just do it.
I'm booked for the next 2 months.
You could do a lot of the work yourself, though.
I can't?
Yeah, you're just gonna need one of these hats. And so he does. They all work together because that's what Christmas is about.
I love this stuff.
Okay, great. They cleared out all the debris, but the walls are still burnt. You're just gonna like paint over them? Are they gonna do the landlord special at the hot chocolate cafe? Before we even get an answer to that, Colette surprises Marcus by bashing a hole in the wall.
What are you doing?
Tearing down the wall?
Look, now we have one big cafe instead of 2 little ones.
If it's okay with you.
If it's okay with you? A little late to be asking that question.
We're combining Colette's Cafe and sweet pastries.
Sweet pastries here?
But sweet pastries there.
Why?
Because it makes sense.
Well, hard to argue with that logic. Sure, I guess they could have finished the other side before turning her business into an active construction zone, but where's the fun in that? It's Christmas.
I think I'm falling in love with you.
Why is there a hole in the wall?
I love this stuff.
The best thing about watching that movie was it had updated my Hulu algorithm, and now they're recommending nothing but bangers. I'm talking Fred Claus in Spanish. Christmas in Tennessee.
There's no way they're gonna make it in for the Christmas Eve service tonight.
Well, why don't you sing it?
I haven't sung in years. I can't do that.
Mom, I need you to sing.
Gary's gonna sing. Gary's gonna sing. Gary's gonna sing.
Of every childlike heart tonight.
But I didn't watch any of those because I saw something called Cowboy Christmas Romance was the #3 movie on Netflix, and I knew I had to see it for myself. This movie's all about the completely unexpected pairing of a city girl and a country boy. That doesn't make any sense. They're from entirely different walks of life. What could they possibly have in common? I don't know. Ever heard of beer?
Beer?
Yeah.
I remembered you liked IPAs.
Same.
I remembered that I like IPAs too. Oh boy, the sparks are flying now.
Horses are a lot easier for me than people.
Why don't you grab a few of those apples?
Oh, no, I don't.
Grab some of the apples and give her one. And give her another 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 one.
Oh, no, I don't.
Trust me.
The most noteworthy thing about this movie to me is that the guy who plays her brother
Bless you, little brother.
might be the poutiest person I've ever seen. Everything he says is through gritted teeth.
Grab a plate if you're hungry. Yeah, coffee's over there. Chop up those peppers.
He barely opens his mouth the whole movie. It's awesome.
Cheer or not. Everything okay?
Hey, come on, buddy, cheer up. It's Christmas. Christmas Eve.
If you please, it's time for the main event of Christmas Eve.
Our December 22nd tradition. Dad's gonna sing a song.
This Christmas.
Wait, he's not. Who's singing? Why did they make it seem like he was gonna sing and then not have him even pretend like he was?
No, don't stop.
Don't stop? He never started. I do like that 2 of the ornaments on this tree are just full-sized cowboy boots. You gotta admit, that's pretty cool. And yeah, they fucking a barn. You can take the boy out of the country, but you can't take the country out of the boy.
I love this stuff.
Say what you want about this movie, but they employed a lot of horse actors. I just hope this inspires all the young ponies out there trying to break into the industry. Keep your head up. For as long as white women have cable TV, you'll never be out of work. All right, fine. I'll talk about something good so I'm not just bitching the whole time. Forewarning, I'm about to spoil most of the first season of Pluribus, so maybe skip ahead if you haven't watched it yet. With that out of the way, this show is awesome. And it's been really interesting to see some of the discourse around it. The main criticism of Pluribus is that it can be agonizingly slow. Not enough stuff happens, it's a waste of time, and while I mostly disagree with this, it certainly drags at some points, I understand why it's happening. I honestly think the biggest pitfall of Pluribus is that it's gotten too popular too quickly. In the middle of the very first season, it was announced that this is already the most streamed show in the history of Apple TV. TV. Now, this is partly because it's made by Vince Gilligan, who's responsible for 2 of the most acclaimed shows ever made, and also because only like 100 people are subscribed to Apple TV, so probably not a huge bar to clear. But having a show get so much traction before its first season is even halfway done can lead to a lot of people basing their opinion on an incomplete picture. The pilot of Pluribus is incredible. It's like a beautifully directed modern episode of The Twilight Zone. It's propulsive, it's suspenseful, especially if you go into it not knowing anything about what the fuck is going on. You can see the seeds of an apocalypse, but the specifics of it are unclear. These people are getting infected by something, but they're not turning into bloodthirsty monsters sprinting around looking for someone to kill. They're a different kind of zombie. They're human, but not entirely. It's like their free will has dissipated and they're all moving in unison towards a calling that seems out of their control. Eventually, the entire human race, with just a handful of exceptions, has transitioned into this hive mind. They each share one consciousness. They know everything everyone else thinks and feels. They have no sense of or desire for individuality because they now live to serve the same goal. To figure out why these 13 people didn't transition with them and use every resource on Earth to finish what they started.
We will figure out what makes you different.
Figure it out, why?
So we can fix it. So you can join us.
It's such a cool premise that had me hooked instantly. And then nothing really happens for a while. Carol is pissed off all the time, and it's kind of frustrating to watch. She meets the other survivors, if you will, and none of them share her desire to turn things back to the way they were, which is kind of frustrating to watch. For a couple episodes, I had this feeling of like, okay, I get it. They all work together for the common good, and Carol doesn't trust them, but we're seeing the same types of scenes over and over again. So where is this going? Why am I investing in a show that doesn't seem to be moving towards something? I think the reason it feels so slow early on is because the writers are committed to organic character development, and that's something that takes time. As an audience, we often want instant gratification from the people we're watching on screen. Come on, do something. I put my phone down for this. But this isn't how real people act. And change, especially in the face of life-altering circumstances, doesn't happen overnight. Most of the criticism seems to get levied specifically towards Carol. She's paranoid, she's distrusting, she refuses to accept what's become of her life, and sure, it's not always the most fun to watch, but it always feels authentic. How is she supposed to act in this situation? In a single moment, the world as she knew it ceased to exist, and now she's stuck in this apocalyptic dystopia completely alone. These people, or whatever they are responsible for this. They're the reason her wife dropped dead in front of her. And then while still wrestling with the emotions of this, she goes to meet up with the only other people on Earth in her same position, and none of them even acknowledge that there's a problem to solve. Not only have they already made peace with things, but they think she's the crazy one. Try imagining yourself in this situation. You would be losing your mind. So why then do we expect this character to act in a way that wouldn't make sense? Just because it would be more interesting to watch? What exactly do you want this show to be? It takes literal months of grief and solitude for Carol to finally snap. We see her go through multiple stages of denial, anger, acceptance, until she finally gets so miserably lonely that she realizes she'd rather spend time with an alien that looks like a human than continue to suffer on her own. I think it's a beautiful and realistic depiction of someone's journey with grief. And maybe the problem is that's just not the story some people came to see. I think that's okay though. I respect that Vince Gilligan, knowing how many eyes are gonna be on his work at this point, is not just trying to play to the largest possible crowd. They're convicted in the show that they wanna make, and they're not gonna force certain things to happen because they're worried about some people getting bored. If you'd asked me how I felt about Better Call Saul after the first season, I would have said, it's pretty good. I enjoyed it, but ask me how I feel after watching season 6, and I'll tell you it's one of my favorite shows ever made. I'm all in on Pluribus. I expect a similar trajectory because Ray and Vince and his crew are too talented to disappoint. And even if the plot stalls from time to time, at least you know the detour they're taking is the scenic route. Anyway, that's my video about the 4 things I watched this month. Sometimes on YouTube you spend 2 months writing an essay about capitalism, and other times you pull an idea out of your ass and throw some shit together because the holidays are stressful and this is the best you could come up with. I'll be back stronger than ever in 2026, unless, of course, I die tonight in a tragic fireworks accident. Goodbye.
It's Plurbin time.